Hey guys, what's up? It's iFlynn here, and every single Sunday I'm going to be uploading a video covering sorties because I feel like a lot of people in Twitch chat, they don't really feel like they want to jump in the sorties either because they feel like they're not ready or that they're just not worth the time, and I'm kind of here to put that sort of like mindset to rest whenever it comes to sorties because they're a very easy to do activity, and in my opinion they're some of the best content in the game just because it's a different challenge every single day and it allows you to test yourself as a player as well. So whenever it comes to uploading these videos, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to show you guys all the builds, all the loadouts, and explain my thought process behind why I'm using certain equipment for a certain sortie or a certain modifier, whatever the case may be, as well as my focus, and basically just cover everything so you guys are very well informed whenever it comes to jumping into your first sorties. And it kind of makes you think in the same way that I think whenever it comes to sort of analyzing and saying, okay, well, I need this frame to do this certain task in the most efficient way possible, if that makes any sense. So today's sortie is versus the Grineer faction, which means they have a lot of armor. So the first thing you want to think about whenever you're taking a look at the sorties and stuff like that is the fact that, okay, well, what enemy type is it against and what elements do I have to use on my weapon so I can get the most amount of damage out of my my weapons, of course. So because the Grineer have a lot of armor, there are two different routes that we can go down. Obviously, there is the ferrite armor and there's alloy armor. So, you know, depending on the different enemies will have different types of armor. So bombards, I believe, have alloy, and then the heavy gunners have ferrite. So the heavy gunners are weak to corrosive damage, where the bombards are weak to radiation damage. But in general, we usually just mod for our corrosive damage because that allows us to strip away armor whenever it procs, regardless of what type of armor it is, right? So we're going to be modding for corrosive and fire damage on most of our builds because that's going to give us 100% extra damage versus the heavy gunners, and even at that, the bombards aren't going to be that big of an issue anyway because we're going to be using things which will basically make them more or less useless, okay? So we have our first mission here, which is level 50 to 60. It's a mobile defense, and I'm going to be using Loki within this mission, and for a reason that a lot of you guys may not think about if you're a newer player to the game. So Loki is actually a really good frame for defense missions because of his radial disarm ability, because you can mod for max range and basically cover an entire map or room with that ability, making every single enemy more or less useless, especially whenever you pair what the ability does, disarming enemies, with what its augment allows it to do, basically making the enemies fight one another. It becomes a very, very, very good defense tool for a lot of teams. Like if you're having a very good Loki in your team, you could basically like eliminate the need to have like a Frost in your team if your Loki is good enough, of course. But you know, they are very few and far between, of course. So mobile defense, we're going to get this done very easy with Loki, and I'm just going to show you the build in a second. Next up, we have our spy mission here. This is Eximus Stronghold, so that just means a lot of Eximus enemies. Those are the guys that have like aura effects around them, or will be able to set you in fire, or deal toxin procs, things like that. They're not going to be seeing us because, again, we're going to be playing as Loki. We're going to be using the Invis build, max duration, very easy, and we're just going to go in and we're going to like knock that out of the park. And then last but not least, we're going to be using another stealth frame called Ivara. We're going to be going into this interception and basically not allowing any enemy to see us, and we're going to keep them in a constant loop of sleeping. So that's just how I plan to solo it, of course. So without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at the build. I'm also going to be using the Xeneric Focus. So if you guys don't know what Focus is, chances are you haven't completed the second Dream Quest yet. So you may want to skip ahead about like a few minutes in the video. I'll try to put a timestamp down in the bottom right hand corner here just to let you know when the sort of spoiler part is over. But behind this door is spoiler material, so click off within the next 5 seconds. And yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So okay, so the Xeneric I'm going to be using, good job, Flynn. The focus I'm going to be using is Xeneric, and really the only thing you need whenever it comes to sorties is Energy Pulse. Energy pickups grants 50% additional energy over 5 seconds, which is pretty beneficial, and Energizing Dash. The rest is kind of just optional. Inner Might will give you more melee channeling efficiency, which is pretty good, and then these two are based around your operator. So this one just gives you energy regeneration increased by 90%, and then this one is your operator energy is increased by 90% as well. So regen, and then, you know, like a flat increase to your energy across the board and your operator, which is pretty cool. But Energizing Dash is basically just going to allow you to, you know, restore your energy by using your operator and dashing. Like a little bubble is made. You can stand in it, get your energy back. Pretty straightforward, and it's really useful. So there's no reason not to pick it up. And that is it with the spoiler material. So the first build we're going to be using whenever it comes to our mobile defense is the radio disarm build. So to explain this, basically we're getting maximum range by combining cunning drift, stretch, and overextended together, which will give us our 250% range, which puts our Loki's disarm up to 50 meters. Okay, pretty straightforward. And then we're going to make that the irradiation effect, which is going to make the enemies fight one another with this irradiating disarm augment mod here, which you can get from the red veil, I believe. And then we're basically just going to make it so that we can spam this ability by combining streamline and fleeing expertise. This gives us 175% efficiency. Make sure that these are both one from the top, or else you're going in overkill, because you can't go over 175% efficiency. And if you do rank fleeing expertise up more, you're going to be getting 10% less duration than you would if you had you know, a one from the top. So you're not going to get any more efficiency for having this maxed out, is basically what I'm saying. Prime continuity is also thrown on here to increase the duration of the radiation effect. Prime flow for our energy, and then vitality for our health. Cunning drift is on here. Okay, I already explained that. And then we have our aura mod here, which you can either use energy siphon or corrosive projection. I think for the sake of this one, I'm going to go ahead and run energy siphon just so we can spam it more effectively and we get that energy regen, okay? So that is basically that. Next up, we have my config B here. This is going to be the config that we use for our spy mission. Again, I'm just going to go ahead and throw on energy siphon. We have constitution, narrow-minded, prime continuity. These three will be used in conjunction with one another to get you the maximum amount of duration you can, which will take your invis up to about 33-second duration. And then we have prime flow on here for our energy sustain, vitality for our health, cunning drift for a little bit of range on our disarm if we so choose to use it. Streamline so we can cast the ability more frequently. Obviously, we don't have fleeing expertise on here because that will take away from our duration of our invisibility. And then rush and natural talent. These two mods are interchangeable. You can use basically anything you want on here. So I just like using rush because it makes the missions faster, and natural talent. So then, like, let's say an enemy does see me, I can just like hit 2 and then be invisible a lot faster, right? So it just makes more sense. Next up, we have our Ivara build, which is basically our sleep build. So now this is going to be a little bit weird to explain because I haven't like got the correct polarities on here. I do have to forma again, but this is basically the stuff that you want to be going for whenever it comes to your Ivara sleep build, because you have a lot of duration on here because of your prime continuity, your narrow-minded, and if I was able to fit on constitution, which I technically could if I just did this, you know, you would have like your maximum amount of duration you could possibly have by combining these three together, and then you would throw on as much range as you possibly could by combining overextended, stretch, and cunning drift if you were able to, because I can't at the minute because I haven't got the right polarities on. You'd throw on your prime flow for your energy. You don't need it, but it's nice to have on there, and then streamline so you can cast your abilities more often. So what I recommend doing is messing around with the polarities on this build, and then just making it so that you can throw all the stuff on. So I might actually go into it with my build like this because they're not going to be seeing us, so it doesn't make any sense for me to have on vitality or whatever. So basically, you know, we're just going to be keeping our energy up by using our energizing dash, and then you know, maybe our energy siphon as well, and that's pretty much it. So other than that, we'll move on to the weapons. I'm going to be using the Dread across all 3 missions, and this is the build that I'm going to be using. I'm just going to go ahead and replace Prime Being Corrupted for Prime Being of Grenier. So basically, to dumb this down, Surrection, Split Chamber for your main damage, Vital Sense, Point Strike for your crit, your Elemental Combo, Stormbringer, Infected Clip, Speed Trigger to up your DPS because it's a bow, and then you have 1 mod slot left to use whatever you like. So you can use Hunter Munitions, you can use Prime Being of Grenier, you can use another element, you can use Argon Scope, you can use Bladed Rounds, whatever you so choose, you can throw on here. Obviously, some options are going to be better than others. I like to use my Prime Being mods because, I mean, they took a lot to rank up and they are very effective, and that's why I like to use them. But anything that I just listed there will be effective, and you will be able to use it within the sorties with a similar sort of effect, right? Moving on, next we have the Axe Stilettos Prime. You can use pretty much any like crit secondary. You can use Pandero, you can use the Aximati, Axe Stiletto, Twinger Katas. They will all give like similar DPS, pretty good. So again, to dumb this down, Hornet Strike, Barrel Diffusion, Lethal Torrent for your main damage, Prime Target Cracker, Prime Pistol Gambit, or the regular versions for your crit. And then you have your Elemental Combo, Pathogen Rounds, Convulsion here for your Corrosive. And then we have one extra slot to throw on whatever we like. So Hydraulic Crosshairs is a go-to for me, because it gives me a decent amount of DPS and it's a pretty good mod in my opinion. Or you can throw on something like, you know, another elemental if you so choose to. Like, let's say you're playing Mesa, this would be the build that you would use on Mesa if you wanted to use your 4, you know, so stuff like that. But I'm just going to stick to the Hydraulic Crosshairs for now, so, you know, that's that. And then last but not least, I am using the Atarax because it's spin to win, very easy to build. Well, very easy to build, kind of complicated to build, but it is it's really good. And Prime Pressure Point for your damage, Prime Reach for your range, Blood Rush to keep your combo up, same with Drifting Contact, plus Status Chance because you do get a lot of damage from the slash procs, Organ Shatter, again, for some crit damage as well, Berserker to keep your DPS up so you can keep your combo up, stuff like that, Maiming Strike, the flat 90% crit chance on your slide, and then Weeping Wounds, obviously, for more stacking status chance, which is pretty nice. So, or you can use a build like this, where you have like a flat increase with your elemental mods and stuff like that. Totally fine as well. This will give you similar effects. But there's a lot of different ways to build the Atarax, and this is the one that I just kind of use for general usage, you know, so like I don't have to change the build every so often. But other than that, I guess we'll just jump into the sortie. We're going in with a range build first, and basically we're just going to be spamming 4 with Loki, and then that'll make it super easy. So what you want to be making sure you have before you do jump into these is energy plates, because energy plates are very essential to keeping your energy up, like if you are in a tight spot. So I'm just going to go ahead and rush a few of these, make 30, and then have like a few crafting, because we're going to need a lot of these in the last one, I would say. But keep in mind, you will be able to keep your energy up if you're using Energizing Dash. So we're just going to go ahead, jump into this mobile defense, get this done and dusted. It shouldn't be too hard, and if it does get to the point where it feels very boring, very repetitive, which it will, then obviously I'll speed up the video and we'll jump into the spy mission and stuff like that. But anyway, the first thing you want to be doing, go into your operator, do a little dash, and then you're getting your Energizing Dash, and then you have your passives up, as you can see in the top right-hand corner. Cast your invisibility, and then we're just going to be running through the mission, and then we're going to be putting this little thing into the thing, and then letting it do its thing. So the enemies haven't actually seen us yet, but they will start attacking as soon as we lose our invis. So what we're going to do, hack, and just press 4. And then you just want to press 4 as much as you possibly can. And what this is going to do is any enemy that has a weapon, like as in like a gun, they're going to be staggered. As you can see, the ballista, every time we cast their 4, they're going to be staggered. And then they're also going to fight one another. So you don't necessarily have to spam it, but if you want to be, you know, better safe than sorry, then you can just go ahead and spam it for the duration of the little counter here, and then that'll make it very easy for you. So this is basically what I'm going to be doing for the next 3 minutes, because we have to hack 3 consoles, and they take about 1 minute 20 seconds each. But you can actually go ahead and kill enemies as well if you so choose to. It's very easy to kill these guys, especially with the dread build that I show you. You should be one-shotting them, but if you're not, then it's whatever, man, you know. You can do whatever, but this is basically all we're going to be doing. So I guess we will skip ahead to the last little console. So I'll see you guys there. So just to kind of show you guys what it looks like whenever you have like a bunch of enemies fighting one another. This is just kind of how it goes, and you're able to constantly keep these enemies in this loop. You just have to make sure that, like, you know, they're not edging their way towards you, because they still can attack you, even though they have the radiation proc on. Like, of course they're going to go in and attack, like, your teammates and stuff like that, but they can still come after you and hit you, or you can get caught in crossfire or whatever. Like, let's say, you know, you just have the radiation proc applied on your weapon, and you're procking a heavy gunner or something like that. Heavy gunner, if they still have their weapon, they can still shoot you, type of thing. So it doesn't mean that you're completely immune to damage whenever you know, you have the radiation proc on the enemies, but you're able to just constantly keep the enemies in this loop of being stunned and fighting one another. And obviously the more duration you have on your build, then the longer that radiation effect is going to stay applied to the enemies. But other than that, this sortie was just all about, you know, staying invisible and then keep on spamming 4. Literally, that's it. A lot of players think that that's kind of a cheesy way of doing it, and I mean, to each their own, because like a lot of like abilities in Warframe are based around either stunning enemies or making them do something else, like preoccupying them. So let's say like it's kind of the same as like if you were using an Ars 1, you're just spamming his 1 to keep the enemy stunned, so you're keeping them in a constant loop of being stunned, and it's a really effective way of getting things done. But I can also understand why people may find it like, you know, okay, you're just cheesing your way free content. But it's whatever you want to do as a player, honestly. Like if you want to jump in there with like, let's say for example, I don't know, Valkyr Warcry build and melee everyone and just do it like that, you know, that's totally fine as well. But you know, it's completely up to the player what they want to do. But we're going to be doing the spy mission now. This should be relatively easy. There should be nothing in here that really holds us back. But you just want to do the same thing again. So once we jump into the mission, we're going to jump into your operator, and then we're going to use our energizing dash, get a little bit of energy, make sure that we have our passives up like so, hit our invis, and then we're just going to go ahead and sprint through the mission, making sure to not like, you know, get detected by enemies. And it should be like a lot less maintenance now, if that makes any sense, because obviously we have that like 33-second odd duration. So make sure to be hitting those like little sensor things, because you don't want those like messing up your invis or whatever. So that can kind of be a pain in the ass. So let's just make sure that we can get free here. So this is a very easy vault to begin with. All we have to do is jump in here, slide, look up the way, hit this, and then we go through this little hole here, and then we're basically in the vault in no time. So all you really have to keep an eye on is your invisibility. Make sure that it's up at all times, and make sure to just like keep on spamming 2 or keep on spamming, I believe on console it would be, what I do in console is whenever I'm playing my PS4 is I use the little touchpad to cast my abilities. So it's in the order of up, down, left, right. So whenever I'm saying 1, 2, 3, and 4, sliding the touchpad up would be my 1, and then sliding the touchpad down would be my 2, sliding it left would be my 3, and then sliding it right would be my 4. And that's just how I have my console, I guess, controller keybind it, if that makes any sense. So that's a thing. But I used to play Warframe on console like, it must have been 4 years ago. That's where I started at on PS4. I just got kind of mad at Call of Duty, so I was like, okay, we're just going to go ahead and download a new game now, and I played Warframe, and now I'm playing it on PC, which is pretty cool. There's the Nox, he's scary. But yeah, but break this, hack this, easy peasy. Done and dusted. This is another easy vault, especially with Loki. You can just kind of walk straight in. Make sure to keep on spamming your 2. My invis is going to run out here, so I'm just going to spam 2. And then there we go. It's back up again, not detected. And then we're going to go ahead and hack this. Another thing you might want to be careful about is, like, let's say you're speedrunning through these vaults. If you're sliding in or something, like, you can accidentally slide off the vaults. And then, like, as you press X. So, like, if you're sliding into the room, you press X as you're sliding on top of the vault. It can, like, you know, knock you off the vault type of thing, if that makes any sense. So you don't want that to happen. But we're moving on to the last vault now. Should be very easy to get through. But that's because, like, I know all the spy vaults almost like the back of my hand. But, you know, apart from some of the new ones that they added in. But, you know, it should be relatively simple. Like, if you're invisible all the time, then, I mean, you should be able to work it out. Pretty straightforward, in my opinion. Go ahead, hack this. This is an easy one. Okay, yeah, it is. So, all we have to do here, shoot this camera, go through here, jump down here, go through this hole, slide below this laser, jump above this one, jump up the way again, make sure we don't go uninvisible. There we go. And then hack it, we're done. Easy peasy. All 3 of them undetected. Hit this, jump up the way, go invisible again, sprint to the exit, and I guess I'll see you guys in the next sortie instead of wasting your time watching me just sprint to the exit here. So apparently I didn't hit the elevator. One derp per video, boys. Let's bring it back. Alright guys, with this type of mission and saying that it's like a high level interception, you want to make sure that if you're playing as Ivara, you're invisible from the get-go. So you do not, under any circumstances, want to be detected by enemies. Otherwise, this is going to make it a lot harder on you. So what I recommend doing is getting all the energy that you could possibly need at the very beginning of the mission. So put an energy plate down, use your energizing dash, whatever, while you have like a sleep bar over you that will last for about 30 seconds, depending on the build you have. So let's just go ahead and see 33 seconds, which is pretty straightforward. So all we really want to be doing is keeping ourselves invisible. And then what we're going to do, I'm actually going to go ahead and hit Prowl here. We're going to use our noise arrow to attract all the enemies into the one location, right? We're going to try to get most of them in the one area. So you have to make sure that you're constantly invisible for this, otherwise you're gonna mess it up. So what I usually do is I get all the enemies like either on a point or like, you know, somewhere close to it. So we could go for the midpoint, we could go for B, we could go for pretty much whatever. So there's 4 enemies here, but I know there's going to be a lot more. So let's just go ahead and capture one of the points. Let's go ahead and get D. Put down our sleep arrow. Like so. And then what will happen is all the enemies will most likely come for this. Okay. Back into my pile. They're coming down. Like so. Hold them here. And then you're just going to hit your sleep arrow and keep them all asleep. So again, any enemy that hasn't been attracted here, you can just attract to the point by using your noise arrow. And then we keep them in a constant loop of sleep, which is pretty straightforward, right? And if you need to get energy back, just put your sleep arrow down. And then, not your sleep arrow, sorry, your stealth arrow. And then, you know, use your energy pad, use whatever. And then basically what you want to do from this point, keep an eye on your sleep arrow and make sure that the enemies don't wake up. You know, you just want to keep them in a constant loop of sleeping. So the ones that we have to pay attention to are the scorpions and that trooper right there. And then basically what we're going to be doing is, you know, keeping them asleep. So there is a few more enemies still spawning in. That's fine. Just go ahead and make sure that you're capturing all the points. So, we're going to capture this one while still keeping an eye on all the enemies there. Put a stealth arrow on ourselves. Go ahead, sleep arrow these guys. Easy peasy. They just woke up. So now the next ones that are going to wake up are the scorpions. And we'll notice that they're awake because D will start flashing in the top left-hand corner. Hopefully. Maybe. Potentially. Okay. Never mind. It didn't because they weren't aggroed. Go ahead and capture Charlie. And also keep in mind, like, if you're out of range, you can use your 2 to fire an arrow at the point, like so. Put them back asleep again. Now we're going to go for B. And then once we capture B, we can just kind of go over to them and keep an eye on them. So, neutralize that. I'm going to go ahead and use my 2 again, because I can see them moving about. Like so. Easy peasy. And that's it. Now we just go ahead, we stand at these guys. Like so. And I keep them all asleep. We're going to get our stealth arrow down. Go out of prowl. And then just keep these guys in a constant loop. And this is all we're basically going to do. So again, you can call this cheesing it, or you can, you know, call this effective use of tools or whatever. But, you know, agree to disagree, I guess, in styles of gameplay. But this is why I kind of like, you know, stealth frames and caster frames, because they just make it a lot easier. What you want to pay attention to, though, is the enemies going for those consoles, because if they go for those consoles and they hack them, then you're going to lose your point. And of course, if you've lost your point, then it means that you're not going to be, you know, doing this as efficiently as you could be, right? So let's just go ahead and keep them in this constant loop. So this is basically what I'm going to be doing for the next, I don't know, 10, 20, 30 minutes. I don't know. Depends how long this takes, but, you know, that's what happens. So they did actually go ahead and hack it. So what we could do is we could kill all these guys, or we can just keep free points, which is totally fine as well. It's kind of up to you and how much time you have or whatever, so it's down to what you want to do. But I think I'm just going to sit here and keep them in this constant loop of sleeping. So yeah, I will show you guys the bit at the end, I guess. So this is that's how I play Warframe. Okay, so a guy got away, actually. You stay still. There we go. I didn't notice that he went away. So, I'm gonna keep them in the constant loop of sleeping. I let those guys get away, because I'm an idiot. You'll eventually let them all group up again. Because they actually haven't detected you, they're just going running to the points. So, there's no one actually going for C or anything like that. But yeah, I will talk to you guys whenever I get to the end. And yeah. So it just kind of occurred to me that, like, you guys may have trouble killing the enemies at the end of the round, potentially. I don't know, but it kind of depends on the player, I guess, and, you know, if they know that they don't have to necessarily just walk up to every single enemy to stealth kill them because of the Atarax build that we showed. But, you know, basically, if you just keep yourself invisible and don't let them detect you at all, like, the enemies, they will act as if they are normal, like, you know, undetected. Or not like undetected, but unalarmed type of thing, and they'll just run towards the one objective that you have captured type of thing. So you want to make sure that they're running towards you, and if they're not running towards you, use your noise aura to kind of, you know, get them in here type of thing. So see if we get them all here. Group them all up, you know. But they will try to, of course, hack your console like they did. And if one person gets to it, then the hack will continue, and then they'll take the console. So you want to make sure that you're keeping them in a constant loop of sleep. And then once you have them all grouped up, just go ahead and hop over to your next point, like so. And then just capture it. Easy peasy. And then, like, just use your 2 and your 1. Keep them on the point that you want them to be on. Okay, so it doesn't really matter which point. But you can also keep the point, if that makes any sense. So go ahead and sleep them like that, and then get on A. Sleep that guy again because he just woke up. Of course, making sure that you keep your energy up and you keep yourself undetected. That was a little bit risky there because this guys could have seen me. Just sleep them here. Okay, there's one guy over there on the console. Make sure that he doesn't do anything. Like so. Go ahead, cast our thing, our energy, and get more of it. Use our 2, our 1. Keep them all asleep. Keep on making sure that you're spamming your arrow if you're not sure if they're all going to be sleeping. Of course, you have the timer, but the timer is like your most recent timer sort of thing. You just want to make sure that once you have them all rallied up, that you put your thing in the middle ground, if that makes any sense. So I'll put that guy to sleep. There we go. Easy peasy. So this is basically it. All you have to do. But yeah, like I said, it just occurred to me that you guys might find it difficult to realize that you don't have to kill all the enemies at the end because they can disappear, so you don't have to shoot any of them, but you can kill them by melee finishing them if you so choose to. And sometimes enemies spawn. Like if you pay attention to my map right now, you can see in the top left hand corner that there's an enemy just kind of like over there for some reason. No idea why, but this is basically all there is to it. And yeah, you just want to make sure that you're constantly invisible. The enemies don't see you at all. That way you can use your noise aura to basically manipulate the AI and do whatever you want. And just keep them in this constant loop of sleeping, so you can get this level 100 augmented enemy armor sortie done with ease, and not really have to care that much about your weapon build or whatever. And it's all just kind of down to your Ivara build. So Ivara is a very powerful frame. Very powerful, and I definitely recommend picking her up. She just makes it so easy, in my opinion, especially if you know how to mod her. So it's just kind of ashamed that I haven't got like my Ivara formed for this type of content, even though I can fit the build on. Of course, I just wasn't able to show you guys like a full build in this video. So you know, it's whatever though. Like you can basically throw on whatever you want in those last 2 slots. Vitality, I would throw on Vitality, and then Constitution. That's what I would throw on. Constitution, Cunning Drift, you know, it depends. It really depends. It's all up to what you're doing. So, you know, here we are at 75%, and then we just capture C. So, basically what we're going to do, that guy is walking up there, so we can use our noise arrow to kind of just attract him over here. Like so. Just shoot it there. Oh. So that's how quickly you die. Don't let the enemy see you, because if they see you, you're dead. So that happened. So that actually stuffs up our noise aura, I think. Let's see. Nope, it doesn't. We're still good. So you can still use the noise aura to attract the enemies to you. But yeah, you don't want to die like that. And even if the enemies do have 2 points captured, as long as you're ahead of the game, you should be good to go. So let's just go ahead and I need to turn Prial off. Get my energy back, like so. And then I'm just going to go ahead and turn Prial on. And then we're going to go ahead and capture C while keeping the enemies asleep, of course. Because if they're not asleep, then it's kind of GG. Here we go. Down on here. So A and B are being taken right now. I'm not going to worry about that. We can just do this. And then we can obviously get these guys. And then the guy that's on B, we can noise arrow him. Bring him over here. Get him off the point. So, and just make them sleep. Like that. Easy peasy. Gonna head, turn off Prial. Simple. And then there you go. That's the sortie all done. So basically what you want to do now is stay invisible and use your auto axe to sort of spin the win and kill them. So make sure you stay invisible, because like I said, or like you guys seen, you'll get melted in no time. if you if the enemies see you. So just go ahead and see here. I can't just stay in Prial. I need to actually use my stealth arrow because Prial cancels if you slide. But even at that, like, you don't have to kill these enemies, like I said. And it also makes a lot of sense if you just put these guys to sleep, because then you get the unaware multiplier on them too. Do this finisher thing here, where you just keep on sliding like so. Killing them like that. They'll die a lot faster because of the status procs and stuff, so easy peasy. And that's basically the sortie done. So kind of a difficult one for a first video, but you know, it was worth it. And now at the end of this, then you'll see you know, what we get type of thing. So let's just go ahead and see what we get. Affinity booster. So that wasn't worth it at all. Sometimes it's worth it, other times it's not worth it, you know. So it just kind of depends. But yeah, it was a fun sortie. I enjoyed playing it because I got to show off the Ivara tactic, and I got to show off like Loki as a defense frame type of thing. But you know, that's just me. You guys might look at that and say, "Oh, that's too complicated for me. That's not worth it." But as long as you know how to do it, that's the takeaway from these videos, if that makes any sense. So that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button below. If you want to see more Warframe content from me, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.